long.
That sounds so advanced, but yes, let's do it at another session.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, let's just begin with the introductions. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a travel photographer, and I've taken over the Timepieces account. And with me, I have another timepiece artist. Would you like to
Hello.
introduce yourself?
Absolutely. I am Darkness, and some people call me Kwame. I'm a timepiece artist as well, and just happy to be here and sharing some of the knowledge that I have.
And by sharing knowledge, he's gonna share kind of like how he, well, maybe not how he does his actual art, but kind of for beginners, how he works and renders in Houdini. Is that right?
Yes, Houdini is a software that many people tend to be scared of when I mention the softwares I use. However, it is a very robust industry type of software that we use creating visual effects, procedural art, and whatnot. But you have things like Blender, 3ds Max. I chose Houdini because of its complicated matter, and I wanted to master it or just get good at something that was complicated. So yes, I'll be showing you all some of my workflow, and we're going to be actually using an example from the lovely Ray to kind of show how we can take imagery and create 3D from that reference point.
I'm so excited. But first, I want to just talk about you for a second of why I asked you on today to share. And it's because, one, I'm so incredibly thankful to the Timepieces community for connecting us and for showing me your art because it's amazing. And also just giving me the courage to reach out to you on Instagram, on Twitter, and have this possible. Because we have had before a different session, you and I, together on Blender. And then you mentioned Houdini, and I was like, this sounds so much better. And you're like, yeah, this is what I do, even though you're skilled at both. I was like, okay, let's do one on Houdini. And you're like, let's go. So here we are. And first, I wanted to just kind of highlight your work. You have a new drop coming out on Markers Place.
Yes, correct. And this is actually using this tool that we're going to be speaking about, and it's a form of procedural abstract art, motion art, actually. And the reason I decided to go this route, I wanted to do something different than what I've usually been doing in this space, and I wanted to exercise how this software could do this sort of a proceduralism and also bring something different to the space. Getting time to see everything, all the different art space, I wanted to bring something different. That's exactly what I did. And so it's a unique way to show how you can take such a robust software and create these incredible abstract. I'll show some of the process of how I got to where I got there, but not all of it. At some point, I do plan to show the exact workflow from start to finish because I think, it's really nice to share the knowledge once you've established the art style.
That's true. You can't show them all the goods at once. But I think that's just incredible that you're taking the tools that many artists use, and pushing it into a new way and really challenging yourself into how can you create something different, um, that's more true to you and your artistic visions. Um, I wanted to ask because I know the answer and I want you to share. Who are some of your past clients and projects that you've worked on using Houdini?
Good question. Well, I worked with a company called Stereo D, which is out of Burbank, California, and using some of these visual effects tools. We've worked on movies such as The Avengers, G.I. Joe, SpongeBob, Prometheus, Percy Jackson. So I have a nice list of, I have about good 3 years of 20 films that I put under my belt, which 20 films in 3 years is a lot. It was a lot of pillows under the desk, getting a quick nap, come back up, do the work, but it was such a rewarding effort. Also, most recently, I'm working with the Adler Planetarium of Chicago, which I can mention this. And I will be actually doing my piece will actually be in a planetarium, and I'm using Houdini for this whole robust system. And oh my goodness, I've had quite a bit of great clients that I've worked with just using this software, and as this list extend. Now, I spoke with you earlier that to me, I think I only know about 5% of Houdini. But however, it is when you can use that 5% to create what you can, nobody knows you only know 5%. But the idea behind using these softwares is just to learn what you need to accomplish the art styles that you need. I don't think I'll ever get to the point that I know 100% of the software because it goes towards 3D modeling, generative modeling, procedural modeling, visual effects, which I actually use Houdini the most for visual effects. So recently I was working in the gaming industry, and part of that was using this actually to create the visual effects for a lot of the fight scenes or impacts and whatnot. So that's the visual effects part, but I also use it on an artistic side where I might, what I like to do is I'll sculpt my characters in a software called ZBrush. You'll notice a lot of my characters have all this amazing, highly detailed jewelry. I use Houdini for that because Houdini can give me the ability within, 10 minutes to make maybe 5,000 beaded necklace that has all these beautiful colors. And that's what's great about proceduralism. Like I'm looking at your earrings right now, and when I look at these things, yes, as an artist that does procedural art, I will notice all these things because I'll notice right away and say, oh, that is a piece I wouldn't mind doing in Houdini, and I would go through these ways to do that. And so Houdini is a great way to get so many of these little details, and the more you learn how to do the procedural part of it, it becomes endless. And are you familiar of what procedural modeling is? I know I'm saying the term, but I want everyone to have an understanding of that.
I can kind of infer what I think it means, but for the viewers and for myself as well, please explain.
Okay. So proceduralism is a way of actually let me rewind. You hear of generative art and procedural art. And those are two big differences. Generative art, as you've known in the Web3 space, you might have like 10,000 characters that were created, and they'll make a whole different thousands of heads, glasses, shirts, and then they'll run it through a system that will generate all these pieces together. Proceduralism is different, where you use a series of techniques to um, create these objects, but you can translate them in a way that you can make um, thousands of millions of variations. So in this sense, I can create your earring as a base, but through proceduralism, I can create millions of different versions, anything from the size to the colors to the shape. I can make them, dangle longer, or I can just spread them apart and do a bunch of really cool things. So proceduralism to me is a very nice way of being able to turn certain pieces of art into highly detailed variations of a million types of ways of doing things.
Wow. Okay. You just blew my mind.
I just blew my mind too, because I did not know I could explain it like that.
No, that was perfect. That was amazing. And I think you just clearly demonstrated just how powerful of the tool Houdini is for
Mhm.
many, many different kinds of artists. So, yeah, let's get into it. Show us the
Absolutely.
goods.
All right. So, I imagine I just go ahead and do a screen share.
I believe I gave you access, hopefully.
Yes. All right. Give it a moment. So,
With lines?
USB scan drive. I don't want this. Okay. Okay, good. I think I have what I needed here. That is going to be, yeah, this, you're going to see how deep this is. I'm glad you didn't see this first because you might have thought, look at Blender. I should one day just share a screenshot of how this looks. All right, let me stop this one.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like the crazy behind the beauty.
Oh yeah. It's in fact, even that craziness should be a piece of art. I'll pull up which one. I'm just gonna pull up any one random one of these. Let's see, solar plex. Let's do cell traffic. That'll be fine. Um, it's funny because, and while it's loading, what it really took. What is this? Hold on. It really took a lot of trial and error to figure out what I did for that piece, which was I almost gave up, to tell you the truth, because it was so intense. But what happened is I was really determined to execute this. And the reason being was the fact that I, seeing all the art out there, it came to me that I need to do something different. I want to do it different, but how I do it different. And at some point when I'm in the spaces talking about it, a lot of this art I did actually came into the things I am the most interested about, even more interested than the art I currently do, which was all geography, celestial, spiritualism, and the planetarium system. Super nerdy stuff, right? And I thought, you're gonna like this. And I thought, how can I do that? And that's when all this was birthed and a new style came in.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. That's wonderful that you're sharing that, because I think a lot of people don't really realize how kind of complex and meaningful the process is to us
Mhm.
artists. Like
And
yeah.
you'll appreciate these lines, right?
Oof, oh, I told you in a DM that they resonate so much with me as a landscape photographer, where I spend a lot of time looking at maps and Google Maps and terrain, and hiking is really, really important to read maps like this as well. So it's so much fun seeing it.
Yeah, you're the only one to have caught that this has something to do with the geographical map. The only one. And I was like, she knows. She knows what's up. And you'll actually see how this is built, that it actually starts from there. So
Mhm.
this is my system. Let's see which one it is. I haven't opened this file in a while. Is it this? No. So this is the system that built this. You can kind of see this big tree here. And if I go to now, see, this is really nice. These are all the little particles in there.
Mhm.
Now, if I go to where my key places, I'll start from, so here's that height field that we talked about. And pretty much, let's see what it does. Yeah, it was just pretty much the flat plane. Um, what is this? Let me see what this is locked on right now. All right, good. So here's actually let's turn these lights off. Oh, that's right. I'm using, what's it called? Redshift. Well, I can turn these lights out since I'm not gonna save this. Yeah. So what it was is I made the height field, which was just that plane that we did. And I actually, to get my really cool grooves in there, trust these spheres. And what is something is highlighted here? I need to take off. Hold on. What is it? Maybe I turn all of these off. There it is. So I have these couple spheres. If you see, they're just sitting in there. And then I use this trick, which it takes the height field, brings this down, makes this little cool red thing, which is called a mask. The mask is basically, all it's basically doing is saying, look, I want to use these spheres based on this to make the end or to not be affected. That's all I did. These spheres are just making the height field unaffectable. So here it is. This is the sphere you saw. If I take this off, that's just all it is. It's just the landscape that I went and did that through. But then with the spheres added, I got the grooves. And the cool part comes in when this is just the mask clear so the red doesn't start. And then an out. You have these out nodes because you need to go and connect it other places, and it's easier than having to go figure out which node to connect. Then to start getting that beautiful lines you saw was this piece. You see that?
Oh.
And it gave me the terraces. That's all it is a terrace node. So I built from the thing, I got the terrace node, mask clear so you can see it better.
That looks so cool.
And let's see. Now this is a cool node. If I wanted to go the route and try and make more realistic landscape texture, this is it. You can see this gives me a height map where, you know, the lowest it can show the land to the and you use these colors if I wanted. So when I wanted to do a piece that would fade maybe from a dark blue to a light blue, but I haven't figured that out yet. But that's what the visualizer helps me do. It helps me see where my peaks are, where my dips. Then, so that was my out terrace. To get those really, really cool lines, I did a bunch of little tricks where if you see here again, it's hard to explain this part, but I basically have a grid. I make a ton of copies. I use it as a Boolean, and boom, you get this beautiful, like you can, from this, you can do anything. I could have not needed the terrain, but I got this out of that. Now, as I go in, these lines are what drive those little particles. How does this work? I have my sphere, little baby one. I use what is a mop instancer. And that mop instancer took those lines and made that. And then from there, it's a fall off to kind of give them some big, some small. And, you know, in this part, so those lines I had, I use that to, I'll basically say, hey, Houdini, take all those spheres, take those lines and make them move along it. See that? And that's what I did. And then I can control and say, make some move fast, make some move slow. But that's what I'm doing. I'm using it to kind of drive things around. And this then, you know, it's a little extra magic. What it does here is instead of making this a sphere, I converted them to points. That's it. So now they look like just regular points. And what it is because it's points, I can, instead of rendering as geometry, which would take forever, you render it as particles. So that's all I did, putting that together. And then I use this attribute randomize, which just pretty much allows me to we're getting a little technical. I use what is called CD, the color point. I'll use the color point and define this actually defines, and I'm not that smart. I sound smart saying it, but it takes it and all this part is just saying, give me some ranges between blue and pink, and that's all I want. Don't give me green, all that, so I can manipulate all that. And that's basically what it did. And then, you know, in the end, you have this beautiful stream of things going on. And then once you're done, then I take it, and then this is when I put everything together, separating into stuff, and then the output with the lighting, the color, you finally get that awesomeness.
So do you mind if I share my screen for 1 second?
Absolutely, let's do it. Yeah. Where is it? There. Okay.
I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is really cool in my opinion, because you just saw, well, we just saw how kind of you made the lights and kind of the depth and the lines, and really, really neat. But there's so much more that you've done with your pieces. Like, look at these. Holy crap. Like, you can really see. Yeah, go for it.
So those next parts, they're secret. Because the first part of the line, I'll tell you, it's not too much of a secret, but what I do, like this, the one that you see, these things here, I will take it happened by accident. That's how I figured it out by accident. So, and this part's not too big of a secret, but it should be helpful. When I'm done rendering all this stuff out,
Mhm.
what I do is I take it into a video editing software because I want to do the color correcting and all that. Um, and then there was one little thing in there, I'm not gonna say, that I accidentally put on top of the video and was like, wait, what just happened? And I had to undo and go figure out. And when I found this one thing, not all of them use that illusion, but the ones you start seeing waving in this, I use that and started incorporating. So now what I'm doing is I'm going from the 3D visual effects and actually using post video effects. And one word would, you'd be like, oh, you slicks there. One word would let you know how I pulled that off, but that's the part I get to say, nobody knows. And so even the
Mhm.
flower thing you saw, that took me about an hour to figure how to get that illusion because it doesn't look like that. The original one doesn't look like that piece, but what I did is when I took that technique, I kept pushing and moving things around. And then all of a sudden, I got this flower. And then I did one little trick. I use a lens distort trick that kind of gives us a flowy, interesting illusion. And that's how it all came to be.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for dropping that alpha and for letting us see kind of this magic behind the magic that you just created. Like, yeah, my mind is like kind of racing right now. I don't know about yours, but I'm like, wow, I could get lost for days just
You could,
experimenting with it.
especially if you know where you're trying to take it, you can be. And I would encourage you to because I feel that when I got into this, I did get lost into it for about a good week. And surprisingly, that after one week I got comfortable. And then from there it was just like, well, what do I want to do? Oh, I want to make a asteroid belt. And then I go and figure out how to do it. And so all of these things have now just kind of came into these. And it's interesting. I have not done any of the stuff that I've done in the film industry in any of my art yet, but it's gonna come. I've been waiting. So a lot of the film magic, I've just been waiting and doing these little parts, but I'm soon gonna start bringing it to take it to the next level.
Okay, so what people didn't realize before we started recording, I told you that the reason why you haven't learned, the rest of Houdini, because he was saying how he only felt he knew like a little bit of it. It's like, well, the little bit that he knows is freaking incredible what he's done with it. And I'm going to credit one of my friends, Peter Lee. I just met him in London. And he said to me, he's like, everyone has access to all of these tools. Houdini, now many people own like fancy cameras and videos and, gimbals and editing software. It's what you do with them that really changes and determines your art. And I'm like, this is so smart because everyone can create. I think everyone has the potential and ability to create, but it is your artistry that makes you unique. And that is so important, especially in this age of AI that's coming out, is that AI is a tool. And like you saw, it's being implemented in Houdini, in Blender, and all that stable diffusion is going to be everywhere. And just because, it can do some really incredible things, how you use those capabilities is really going to shape everything. And like you here, I think you're just going to take everything to like the next level and the next level till,
Trying.
well, oh, you absolutely are.
I wanted to see because you just brought the AI thing, and I'm probably sure you might be curious as to how I would have brought Stable Diffusion into Houdini. Wait, what do you use? Midjourney, Stable Diffusion,
I use Midjourney. Yeah, I haven't
Midjourney.
yet jumped into stable diffusion. I tried like Dolly and other ones, but like Midjourney just works really well with my brain, and I found my own
Okay.
way of going through those iterations. But
And
eventually,
Midjourney works better with your brain. That's,
Well,
that's funny. I've used, what's funny is I've used Mid-Journey and it was easy. I never used Stable Diffusion, the app. I used it only in Houdini, so I don't even know how Stable Diffusion works on its own. That's, yeah, I don't. That's why I say I don't know much. I just get around the way.
but that's the thing. Like my camera, I don't know how every single setting on that camera. Sure, I shoot manual, but there's definitely a lot of things I could be doing with this camera that cost me several $1,000s, but I don't because I'm still able to get and photograph things that I want the way I want. So I think
Exactly.
great point.
I'm gonna show you a very quick demo on the AI with this on what I have managed to be able to figure out so far. Let me bring my basic setup. And it's definitely going to change the way I've become one of those that is not afraid of AI, even though AI is the reason I'm not working at my company anymore. But
But see, it's giving you this chance to like learn something and then you'll be able
exactly,
to use it going forward instead of being like, oh, it took my job. You like, well, now I'm going to use
I
you to
have
do my
time.
job.
Exactly. And that's what it was, is now there is the freedom of time because no one wants to be left behind. And like I mentioned before, I did have a little thing about AI. I think what it was my thing was it was the people that abuse it is why I didn't like it. It was all the people that were not into art that just were like, oh, I see artists are making money. I'm just gonna learn this. And you can tell, well, you can tell when some people speak, you can tell who's BSing and who is not.
Yeah. And just like everything political or social this in this day and age, there are those bad apples. Um, but it's I love how you're reclaiming, this AI that did something really awful to your work, but it could be really beneficial going forward.
I actually, you know what? At this point, it needed to happen. I kept, the funny thing is, I kept telling other friends that um, I was very sure I was not going to be at this studio before the end of this year. I didn't know it was going to happen 3 weeks after I said it. But the reason I knew is because I saw where they were heading. And one of the things I wasn't, I actually thought, you know what, if it happens, cool, because I knew what I wanted to do and I just never could get the time. So now it happened. But the thing is, uh, at what point are you going to be cutting this in the video?
I can cut it anywhere.
Okay, I'll tell you this little part. Unfortunately, what the company was trying to do, I had figured out, and I was just about to show them the same day they let me go. They were
Really?
trying to figure out how to do this AI thing with software, make objects and this. And I'd been working on it for weeks. And I had the video ready to be like, hey, look what I figured out. They called me in the meeting, and I was like, oh, you guys just messed up. I figured it. Like
Oh
I
no.
but I think
Like give me a bonus and I'll show you this last answer to your problem.
it had to be for a reason. Because I think if I would have showed them, I would have been stuck there.
Hmm.
And maybe I think I'm better off supposed to be somewhere else.
Well, I'm excited.
I'm pretty sure. I'm
I
trying
think
to pull up this AI piece just to show you a quick demo of how it works. And oh, okay, I see why this one. But I think when you see this, you should be able to know what you could do with your photography if you use this little tool. I posted it on LinkedIn and got like 10,000 views real quick on it. And of course, a few people hitting me up. Hey, I see you're doing this. Would you like to talk to our company? Like, no, I know what you guys are trying to take my secrets.
well, that's actually really exciting because timepieces on the council that we're both on, the community council, we have been talking about LinkedIn and the power it has for creatives. Um, I think that's something that anyone who's watching should kind of put on their radars because it's something
Oh,
definitely on my radar.
definitely, definitely. Well, let me show you what I'm about to show you right now and be ready to be impressed with my nerdism. I
Okay,
love it.
let me take my socks off and protect
Oh,
them.
You need to put rubber bands on your socks or something. So you see this rock,
Okay,
this
it's pretty.
diamond? That is due to this. You see this? Let me
Okay.
show you how this works. This is the AI part. Um, you're familiar with prompting.
Mhm.
And so all I did, I took a 3D, I made all I did, sphere with the mountain node that I showed you, right?
Mhm.
With that, I came in here in a prompt and said, give me a close, shallow depth field, beautiful ultra realism gemstone. So this comes in, it goes through the prompt, it comes through what is called tokenizer. This second part is just saying, I don't know why they want it, but it's like, just put the stuff you don't want. So I've just put ugly, skewed, and cut off. Well, all right, whatever. Tokenizes it, it encodes it. Um, this is a latent noise generator, which just, all right, it just takes it to other places. So based on the prompt, I was able to come in. Oh, this part gives me, oh my goodness, this is so much. So this extracts the shape that I created, right?
Mhm.
And then it gives me a depth map. It basically says, hey, this is front, this is the back, all from that shape. When I do all the connecting and adding this script, even though I don't know how to script, but I got this figured out somewhere. ChatGPT actually interestingly helps you get scripts. Um, Basically took that rock and it reprojected it, and so the outcome is this.
Ah, I mean, that's beautiful.
Well, it's not even the end where I could take in this. I could have I have other pieces where it's actually in 3D. This is just a simple part of it. But what I was able to do, I'm as far as being able to take this and project it into 3D. I don't know if I had yeah, here's an example with the mask that what I'm doing. So basically I can take this. There's a lot of nonsense happening here. Let's use this one. Oh my goodness, we can nerd out on this for 5 hours. I keep forgetting that we
Here I am. I'm like, oh, we should keep this to an hour, but like, oh, keep going. Yeah. But we should probably wrap this up pretty soon.
exactly, or else we'll never get out of here. Um, let's see how this one is working. I think I did the wrong one. Mask test there. But yeah, basically you take your prompts and you can do all that really cool stuff and turn into three. I think this is going to take time to cook, so we won't worry about it because it needs to go through everything. But I was basically going to show you how I was able to take the image that was, oh, here it is. So you see this? You'll appreciate it. You see this landscape? This is generated obviously from my prompts, the ultra realistic sci-fi rocky landscape. It does the regular thing. And then by let's hope that it goes all the way down. Let's see. And then we come here. Oh no, this would have been the coolest thing. Basically, look at how big this chain is. All the red just means that something needs to be updated. So I don't think you'll get to see the beauty of what came out. But basically, um, oh, it doesn't. But basically, I was able to convert this into 3D. So you had a sense of being able to go into it. So I'm almost at the point where I can go in and say, hey, generate me a Martian landscape,
Mhm.
bring it in here, do whatever, and it gives me the landscape. Now I can go in and do all the fog app plants and with that. So that's what I'm trying to learn with this and bring into what I do.
So that's actually really exciting where like maybe not soon, but maybe sooner than we think. Um, I could take images of places that I've been, like photos or images that I've created with AI, and have it actually recreate that scene.
Oh, it's happening right now.
That's
It's a node. It's a node called image to points.
the
So
points.
let's just say that image you gave me. I know I'm blowing. Are your socks still on? They're there, right?
No.
We'll take this image to points here. I'll go back in and get that image that we worked on. And look at that. It's already in there, right? You
Mhm.
have the image. Let me see. I think it is 1024 by. Okay. And wait, what did you say you? Oh yeah, so yeah, you take your photos. You've already done. You have your photo. You bring it in here. I do something like, let's just say, control net. This in this node, this is the what you can do to convert your stuff. So if I come over here, the only reason I'm sorry, let me make this 768. Actually, there's still a little work for them to figure out on this because right now it's mainly working in square. But basically in this, I can come in here and then I do what's it called? Depth estimator. And the depth estimator should it's doing its thing will give me a depth map so it can say, oh, based on this image, I think that this is the foreground and that's the background. And then that is, so you see right there, this is, yeah, it has some work that needs to be done, but you can just see that by taking your image and using, is it this one? Yes, no. You could then, oh, I would really like to take one of your images and actually use it as a sample to see if I can figure out how to
I mean, a
take
photograph might be easier for the software to really recognize because it does have all those elements kind of already captured in it. But
all the information. Yeah, well, if you have one that you'd like me to test and then I can show you how I was able to, that would be good. Because see, right now, just with this, it's already established the foreground, the lightest being foreground. So now this is how I'm able to go in. You could do this node tree setup. I don't, let's see, will it work? And we'll go right here. I think it's image to points that we put. Oh, let's see if this works. This would be really cool. Image to points, SD control attributes, and then you. Oh, I gotta figure it out. All right. I'll figure it out. I almost know how to do it. I've done it a couple of times, but I think I need to do it for muscle memorization. But basically, I'll set the node up and then I can open up the space. So if you have an image you want me to play with, send it to me and I'll love to use it and just, see how far it goes.
That's amazing. Okay, that's awesome because I have like a couple in my head where the places no longer exist or exist as they were in the images, the photographs, because nature changes, civilization change,
Civilization.
stuff. But yeah, that'd be super cool. But let's definitely save that for like another time.
Yes, there's a lot to go. I think we have enough content to start building onto these. I think the next one should be uh, the material and rendering of this piece that we did here. So you get that out, and then we can, look at either effects or, well, if I figure more out, what about the AI and Houdini and stuff? And oh, if you were able to, well, let's wait a little bit because this was a little hard trick, hard to set up. But as I get to learn this more, I'll get to a point where I can easily say, hey, let's do a session and I'll show you how to take your image and convert it into 3D. And then nobody can touch you, Rachel.
Oh
Well,
my
they will
gosh.
not be able to touch
No one
you.
can touch us. We'll be like the next
Exactly.
duo.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be nuts. Then we're gonna have to do like a incredible collaboration, like something sick.
It'll happen sooner rather than later.
I think so. Sooner than later, and I would like it. It'd be cool. Then we could kind of initiate the timepiece family collaborations and bringing those efforts in and say, look, we're now coming together and making these things happen so that we can show how we can just make the art more exciting and educating ourselves.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I think that's kind of the power of community and Web3 and Timepieces has really done a great job of that, of just like putting together artists, some really incredible artists, I'm going to put myself in that category too.
Go for it. You
And just
are.
really just uh have fun with it, you know? Like I love how you're just always thinking, how can we create? How can I do this? Like I know how to do this, but I'm going to have to figure it out. Like how can we utilize what we have and do something new? Um because I think a lot of people think artists are like, how can I sell art? What can I do to sell art? What can I, you know, trend can I replicate to be seen as like, lovable by the masses? um, but I think this is what the beauty of having a true art filled community is like, because it is just this creative energy, this beautiful beautiful moment.
Exploration as well, and you do get inspired by, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that. Like just looking at what you brought out in the images, I'm already in like a supernatural world where I'm like, okay, calm down, Dark, calm down. You teach
You
her
have
this
other
and let her
projects.
take, yeah, just teach her this and let her take it, and you go keep doing your thing, and that's what we do.
No, I mean, we inspire and we learn from each other. Like you said, that
Hmm.
curiosity, that exploration, that's what got me into Web3. I don't know about you, but like I was like super inspired by so many different people that I would never have seen or connected with.
Oh, 100%. In fact, I was telling somebody that in my whole life of being an artist, I had never met that big of a community of artists that you could work with. Because to me, I felt like as an artist, I don't know if it happens with you before the Web3, but I felt like as an artist, usually your friends, colleagues, and families, none of them are artists. So you're on your own. They don't understand what you're thinking, what and so when Web3 came, I was like, oh my God, look at all these artists and people that I can relate with, not just 3D artists, painters, photographers, and
Oh yeah.
musicians.
Yeah, I think like you're right. It's like we don't just stay in our niche. We're really expanding to like other disciplines. Um, because for me, photography is like such a niche, and I love my photography family where they've really helped me within Web3. But sometimes it does become, the same people, because Web3 right now is still pretty small. But
I
yeah.
feel like all the photographers know each other.
Yeah, we really do.
I've like dropped in some rooms and it's like family arguments and
Yeah.
it's like, wow, they really are a crew. They believe it or not, 3D artists, we don't have a crew. I
Really?
thought we would. No, I don't know that many 3D artists. I've seen them, but I have people always saying, "Hey, do you know some 3D artists that are open for some commissions?" I, and they say, but they have to be as good as you. And I shamefully and respectfully say, "Look, I don't know anybody as good or I can't help you." And then I have to go out and I look at people and say, "Oh, damn, I don't think
Hmm.
you know that can." So it's interesting. I do think the photography and music community are the tightest. That's
Mm.
what I think. But I feel like 3D artists, illustrators, all of them, they're just kind of scattered.
Do
Because
you think
yeah,
there's like less of them in this space, or just that's just kind of more how they operate is really?
no, I mean they're there because I see 3D art, but I we just don't seem to be in communities together talking about it. And that is really strange. Maybe I might try and open a space and see if I can find all the 3D artists because I'm surprised 2.5 years into this, I cannot tell you that I have a group of 3D artists that I'm like, yeah, we all know each other.
Well, actually, no, this is like a great opportunity. Now that you're starting to do more of this like educational like demos and more of this external sharing of your knowledge, asking people to come on who could do things differently than you. You guys do like the same sort of like rendi- rendering of something, and you just show like the difference in your workflow. I think that would be really cool to see at some point.
You know what? I think it'll be cool. I have now I think about I think 3D artists are slick. They don't like to I
Oh.
I don't know why, because there are artists that will show their tricks, but I think in Web3 space, 3D artists have a hard time standing out so they don't show as many secrets. Like for me, when I first came to the art space, nobody was doing as much portrait 3D work that I was doing. And I don't know how much of my old stuff you saw,
Yeah,
Well,
I've
I
seen
did like a lot of bust sculpts with the face jewelry, and
really
then
beautiful.
yeah, 6 months later, a bunch of 3D artists started doing it. That's why I don't do it as much. And so this this technique I did, I'm just sitting back like, okay, who's gonna be able to get this and figure out how I did this? So I don't think much people will, so that's good.
I
But I
think
do want to find my community there if they're there.
right. No, that sounds amazing. Like amazing opportunity for you to like reach out to people because I don't know, maybe it is like your your process because it is so important to your art. It might not be as shareable like us as photographers where we're we share a lot.
Well, I, it's funny because when we do have these 3D artist conversations, it's something it usually turns into the war of softwares. You be like, you use Cinema 4D. Oh, the black. It's a friendly kind of war where it's just like, oh God, you use Blender, all of this. And so
Houdini, what?
yeah, like Andre O'Shea.
That sounds familiar. I probably recognize.
He's a timepiece artist, really tall dude, braids. Oh, you saw him at the in when we were in Miami Art
Oh
Basel.
yeah,
Really
yeah.
tall, long dress. He's a cinema 4D artist. He and I for the past 2 years, because he comes from the same industry. He worked in the film industry too. So almost every time we get to share a stage, we're cool, but then it always ends into like, you use cinema 4D. It's kind of like Canon users
Yeah.
versus Nikon.
Ooh, okay. Don't go there.
Oh, you guys have that?
So, not as much. Some people do, but
If I was a photographer, I would come in there just always causing stuff like, what? You use a Canon? Well,
in
what
the
about
DMs, yeah, that's another story. But public spaces, we keep our cool.
you guys do? I'll be that guy that comes. I'm gonna come stir some stuff up. I actually have a pretty intricate camera system too. Um Canon 6D and I big huge
Canon, I'm
why
a
are you a
Sony
Nike?
person.
Which one are you using?
Sony. You're on film. You should be using Sony.
Sony the red? I would yeah. I don't even know why I sucked my teeth on that. I think I was trying to think of something. I don't. No, I haven't used the Sony.
Well, you're missing out.
Which one do you have?
I have the Sony A7R5, but I think for film you would probably need a different one. Um,
Like the red?
yeah, the
I
red.
think I think Sony makes red.
I don't know. Well, in front of pretty much every single film I watch, it says Sony. There's that big Sony branding right in front of the thing. So
All
you
right.
don't see Canon.
I'm not gonna come in there talking shit yet. Then I'll wait. Come in with some real backup.
This is live. People are watching. Keep it.
Oh yeah. Cut that out so we don't have 3D and photographer wars after this.
Exactly. Exactly. Just beep out the names so no one.
Yeah. I'll look into the Sony. I'll definitely look into it. I do very much enjoy photography. I just haven't had a chance to do it in a couple years now, but it's all sitting here waiting. Now I got time on my hands, so get ready to see some other cool stuff come in.
Well, you got music, you got this current drop about to happen on Marker's Place, you have all this other stuff that you mentioned to me before, like pottery.
Pottery?
Uh,
Yes. Oh,
I
I
know
have
you
a
have more time, but
I have a potter's wheel coming in. That's how look, I'm holding my sculpting stuff right now. Like this is how deep I'm into it. It's like I
you're
almost
like
sometimes think,
getting into
what if I
everything.
that's probably why the reason I don't get as much accomplished because I'm just bouncing. But I thought, what if I did something for 3 months, move to the next one for 3 months? I really want to get more into physical stuff. Have you heard of no, I'm not gonna tell you. I have to come out with it first.
Okay.
It's
Well,
an
tell me in
ex
the DM. Tell me later. Tell me later.
yes.
Okay. Well, no, this has been so incredibly awesome of you and your time and just your knowledge. I know you say you don't know that much, but to me, it just seems like, wow, you're a wizard. Hello. Super awesome. I hope everyone else who watched this got something from it, and share it. Give this guy a follow his art, retweet his stuff. Definitely put on alerts because he is someone to watch.
And I really enjoyed doing this, and I look forward to doing even some more of these. And the main thing, giving back to the community and trying to show people, don't be afraid of Houdini. And to me, I think it's this representation of what my life has been, and being introduced to certain things, trying it, and just saying wow, and um, becoming a jack of all trades and a master of nothing.
Or a master of all, kind of like the One Ring. You're just like, ooh, bringing
She's
it
a
all
she's
together.
a cup half full kind of gal. I like that. Cool.
No, the cup is always being filled. Okay.
The cup overfloweth soon.
um, but
I
yeah, I
thank
think
you for all
if you
this.
wanna, I'm gonna just say this: your DMs are open for anyone else who wants to like learn from you or ask you questions. Maybe not your
Yes,
exact workflow and your, secrets,
yes.
but
If the more people that are interested, the more I'll even start to create a curriculum and can, show everything, not everything, but as much as I can from what I've learned in the industry in my career to hopefully help people expand their knowledge and break into new techniques and technology.
awesome. Awesome. No, Houdini's a great tool. Highly, highly recommend.
Highly.
So yeah,